So then, again, maybe you want to look at this because figure 3 does have this same content, but again, that is up to you. Interphase, we just read this, but I want to read it again. Interphase is the stage during which the cell grows, carries out cellular functions, and replicates or makes copies of DNA in preparation for the next stage of the cell cycle. Interphase is divided into 3 substages as indicated by the segment arrows in figure 3. So these 3 stages we're talking about here, here, and here. So the G, we said, cells will continue to grow and grow and grow, and then one of 2 things has to happen. We just read. It either has to stop growing or it has to divide. Okay? So this is why we can see we went out of order in talking about the different chapters in this book because we did chapter 12. Now you can see we're back down to chapter 9 and 10. And the reason for that is, I don't know if it says this in the book, but this is what's happening in this phase. So it's what we think is best for you. Why would we want to talk about DNA replication if we don't know what it is? So that's why we go in that phase. Yes?
How come in the book it has different, the top is mitosis and then it's
Oh, well, yeah, you could do it the same. You just have to turn it like this. It's just how we made it in this graph. You can, if you want, if you like it better in that book, write it like this, but how they have in the book, it's the same thing. Okay. So mitosis is a stage of the cell cycle during which the cell's nucleus and nuclear material divide. Mitosis is divided into 4 substages. Near the end of mitosis is a process called cytokinesis. Did you talk about these at all in life science? Maybe if we wrote the names, you say, oh, I remember those. Okay? So like we said earlier, what is it that has to... Oh. Okay. So, kind of like Christmas morning, right? Can't wait. Okay. So, as we said earlier, the cell it's going to keep growing, so it either stops or it will proceed and continue to grow, otherwise it has to divide. So it grows in this stage. What happens when you replicate something? In other words, like if this gets printed out and you're making copies of it. That's right. So what is it that's being copied in this process? You said copy. That's right. That's what replication is. What's being copied, though? The DNA is. So that's why that process is so important, is that now the DNA is genetically identical to what it's supposed to be. Then there's another growth phase to where the cell continues to grow. That's all that happens in these G1 and G2 phases. With you have this replication in the middle. Okay? Then this is called prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and then cytokinesis. It says that very briefly. It says, okay, mitosis is divided into 4 substages. Okay, so these are your 4 substages: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. This C then stands for cytokinesis. Near the end of mitosis, a process called cytokinesis begins. Cytokinesis is the method by which...
Sorry.
Yes. Oh, was that what the call was for?
Yeah, I don't know how much it rings on your end.
I didn't get to it in time. Okay.
That's okay.
All right. So then... cytokinesis is the method by which the cell cytoplasm divides, creating a new cell. You will read more about mitosis and cytokinesis in section 2, which is true. The duration of the cell cycle varies depending upon the cell that is dividing. Some eukaryotic cells, so what does that mean by eukaryotic cell? What does that mean to you? It's a cell that what? That has a nucleus, okay? Because if it's a prokaryotic cell, what does that mean to you? So if it's a eukaryotic cell, it has a nucleus, what is a prokaryotic cell then? A cell that lacks a nucleus or doesn't have one. That's right. Okay? Some eukaryotic cells might complete the cycle in as few as 8 minutes, while other cells might take up to 1 year. For most normal activity, dividing animal cells, the cell cycle takes approximately 12 to 24 hours. When you consider all that takes place during the cell cycle, you might find it amazing that most of your cells complete the cell cycle in about a day. Now, is this process foolproof, or does it happen, or is there a way that cells can continue to grow and get in the way of everything else? There is, okay? And that's probably one of your vocab terms. Okay? So where can cancer occur or take place? In blood, anywhere. Okay? So one of the things that happens is not that this replicates in one part of the body and then it's an all new form of cancer in another part. No, it just spreads. And it's unfortunate that happens because when this takes place, this cell cycle just keeps going and going. So you're spitting out new cells, new cells, new cells, new cells. What's the function of those cells that are produced when cancer occurs? Does anybody know? What's the function of cells that occur because of cancer? It's a trick question, really. Nothing. That's the problem with cancer. You're producing all these cells, and that makes a tumor, and then in this tumor, these cells have absolutely no function at all, other than getting in the way. All right. So we will continue with this reading tomorrow with the stages of interphase, and we'll talk about these, what's actually happening during mitosis. So, like I said, I don't know if this is something that you think is a better way of looking at it. If you want it more, let's say, applicable or more like what you see in the book, you just turn that about 95 degrees or so. Okay, so the rest of the time then is yours to work on your vocabulary. We'll catch up with you next time.